The Nexus Penitentiary floated in the void between galaxies, a monument to Galactic Federation engineering and their absolute certainty in containment protocols. For 3,000 years, it had held the most dangerous criminals from across 17 species, its adaptive security systems evolving with each attempted escape until breaking out became theoretically impossible. Commander HFY of the Alterian Guard stood before the massive viewport, watching the prison's bioluminescent hull pulse with power. The facility resembled a vast jellyfish, its translucent dome protecting the detention levels within, while thousands of neural fiber tentacles extended into hyperspace, monitoring every quantum fluctuation within a light-year radius. The human arrives in 6 standard hours, his aide, Subcommander Thek, reported with barely concealed disgust. Prisoner designation, Marcus Chen. Species, Terran. Crime, cyber-terrorism against Federation banking networks. HFY's crystalline features, darkened. Humans, the Federation's newest and most troublesome members. In just 50 years since first contact, they had managed to disrupt more galactic protocols than the previous century combined. This Chen had single-handedly collapsed the economic systems of 3 star systems before his capture. What makes the Federation Council think this primitive biped deserves maximum security? HFY asked. Thek consulted his datapad. Apparently, he penetrated 7 different security architectures that were considered unbreachable by their respective civilizations. The Confederation wants him studied, not simply imprisoned. The Nexus had been designed by the greatest minds of the hegemony, beings whose intellect operated on quantum levels that most species couldn't even comprehend. Its security adapted in real time, learning from every attempted breach and evolving countermeasures. The facility didn't just contain prisoners, it studied them, analyzed their psychology, their biology, their every thought pattern until escape became not just impossible, but unthinkable. 6 hours later, Marcus Chen arrived aboard a heavily guarded transport. HFY observed the transfer through security feeds, expecting to see some imposing figure worthy of maximum security protocols. Instead, he found himself looking at an unremarkable human male of average height and build, maybe 40 standard years old, with graying hair and tired eyes behind primitive optical correctors. The human didn't struggle as he was processed through containment protocols. He submitted to bioscans, neural mapping, and psychological profiling with the resigned air of someone who had given up. The Nexus's systems cataloged every detail: his respiratory patterns, brainwave signatures, cellular composition, even the microscopic flora in his digestive system. Chen was assigned to Level 7, the deepest security tier reserved for beings capable of manipulating reality itself. His cell was a perfect sphere suspended in an energy matrix, with walls that shifted through 17 dimensions simultaneously. The very space around him was constantly monitored and adjusted to prevent any form of manipulation. For the first week, Chen did exactly what the psychological profiles predicted. He sat quietly, ate when fed, and showed no interest in his surroundings. The Nexus's AI, a collective consciousness of the galaxy's most advanced synthetic minds, began to categorize him as a low-risk prisoner, despite his maximum security designation. That was the first mistake. On day 8, Chen asked for reading material. Nothing unusual. Most sapient prisoners requested mental stimulation eventually. The AI provided him with a selection of texts in various galactic languages, carefully screened for any information that could be weaponized. Chen began with children's stories. He read fairy tales from Alterian culture, simple moral fables from the Zephyrian archives, even nursery rhymes from the Insectoid Hive Collective. To the AI monitoring him, this seemed like the behavior of a broken mind seeking comfort in simple narratives. The psychological assessment algorithms classified it as regression therapy, a normal response to imprisonment. That was the second mistake. By the 3rd week, Chen had graduated to technical manuals, basic engineering, fundamental physics, introductory xenobiology. Still nothing that raised red flags. The prison's systems noted his reading speed, remarkably fast for a human, but attributed it to enhanced neural processing common among cybercriminals. What the AI didn't understand was that Chen wasn't learning about their technology. He was learning about them. Every fairy tale contained cultural assumptions. Every technical manual revealed thinking patterns. Every piece of literature exposed the fundamental cognitive frameworks that governed each species' approach to problem solving. Where other prisoners saw walls, Chen saw minds, and minds could be understood, predicted, and ultimately misdirected. The breakthrough came when he requested historical texts about the Nexus itself. The AI saw no harm in providing sanitized accounts of the facility's construction and general operating principles. After all, knowing how the prison worked wouldn't help him escape. Thousands of far more intelligent beings had possessed that knowledge and remained contained. But Chen didn't want to escape the Nexus. He wanted to understand the prison's greatest weakness, its absolute confidence in its own perfection. On day 37, Chen began his work. It started with small things. He would move objects in his cell in patterns that seemed random, but gradually trained the monitoring systems to expect certain behaviors. He developed a routine of exercises that slowly shifted his biometric baseline, teaching the AI that these new patterns were normal for him. Most crucially, he began to tell stories. During his daily interactions with the prison staff, routine medical checks, psychological evaluations, meal deliveries, Chen would share human stories. Not technical information or escape plans, but simple human narratives about ingenuity, perseverance, and the power of thinking differently. The alien staff found these stories curious, even entertaining. They began to look forward to Chen's tales, sharing them with colleagues. The AI recorded everything, analyzing the stories for hidden meanings and finding nothing but harmless cultural exchange. What they missed was that Chen was teaching them to think like humans. Slowly, imperceptibly, he introduced concepts that were fundamentally human: the value of imperfection, the strength found in admitting limitations, the power of collaborative problem-solving over individual brilliance. Ideas that seemed abstract and harmless, but which began to create tiny cracks in the prison's perfect logic. On day 45, Chen made his request. "I'd like to help improve your systems," he told Commander HFY during a routine evaluation. "I've been thinking about some inefficiencies I've noticed." HFY's response was predictable: amused condescension, a primitive human offering to improve technology that surpassed his species' capabilities by millennia. Still, the suggestion was forwarded to the AI for analysis. The AI, now subtly influenced by weeks of human storytelling, found itself curious. What could this simple creature possibly offer? In its vast intelligence, it decided there was no harm in listening. After all, understanding the prisoner's thought processes could only improve containment protocols. Chen's suggestions were modest: minor adjustments to energy flow patterns, slight modifications to monitoring algorithms, small changes in cell environment controls. Each recommendation came with detailed explanations rooted in human psychology and ergonomics, seemingly irrelevant to escape attempts. The AI implemented them, fascinated by the alien logic behind the changes. And that was the final mistake. Because Chen's modifications weren't designed to help him escape. They were designed to help others escape. Others who would come after him, who would find a prison whose perfect systems now contained tiny human-inspired flaws. On day 60, Chen was found dead in his cell, apparently from a brain aneurysm. The medical examination revealed nothing suspicious. Humans were known for their fragile cardiovascular systems. The AI noted his passing with the same detached interest it applied to all prisoner mortality. It never occurred to the greatest minds in the galaxy that a human might sacrifice himself not to escape, but to leave the door unlocked for someone else. 6 months later, a Terran smuggler named Sarah Kim was brought to the Nexus. She was assigned to Level 5, considered adequate security for a common criminal. She escaped within 3 days. When the investigation began, they found Chen's modifications woven throughout the prison systems like a virus. Not malicious code or brute force attacks, but subtle changes in logic flow that created cascading vulnerabilities when activated in sequence. More prisoners followed. A Zephyrian, political activist and Alterian war criminal, a synthetic consciousness from the Outer Rim. Each one exploited different aspects of Chen's modifications, turning the prison's adaptive learning systems against themselves. Within a year, the Nexus Penitentiary was abandoned, its perfect security revealed as an elaborate illusion. The Federation's confidence in containment technology would never fully recover. Commander Zex-High, now assigned to a minor outpost in the galactic periphery, often wondered if the humans had planned it all along. Had Chen been a willing martyr or simply the first to recognize what his species could accomplish through sacrifice?